So the Zenless Zone Zero patch 2.8 livestream just ended, and in it they went over all the cool new things that we can expect to see when the update arrives in the start of May. Now, whether you missed it or you don't have time to rewatch it, I'll give you a quick rundown on everything covered on the stream. First things first though, the redemption code is Promea. Make sure you redeem this quickly as it only lasts a day, but there is also a Twitter event where you could win 10 master tapes. All you have to do is follow the official Twitter account and then quote the tweet along with the corresponding hashtag that is linked in the description below. This Twitter event is only for a limited time as well, so be sure to act fast. Now coming to the stream itself though, I'll go ahead and be honest. Since this is the last patch of Season 2, naturally, a lot of work is probably being done behind the scenes with a focus on patch 3.0, the start of the new season. As such, you could kinda see that in comparison, patch 2.8 felt... how should I put this? Let me say it like this. Boy, do I hope that the effort being put into 3.0 will be worth it. Otherwise though, starting off with the main content and the story of patch 2.8, in terms of the lore, there are a couple of new implications from the trailer. Firstly, we have Promeia warning us about tops, including Krampus of course as well, but we already knew about this since there was that little teaser trailer at the end of the last patch with the 3 up in command of tops. But then we also got to hear a little more from a mysterious pink-haired girl that we now know as Remiel. Firstly, she mentions how we are both familiar with Helios, although it means 2 different things for us. Obviously for us, it likely means Helios Academy, but for her, who knows what it could mean. It could mean Helios Academy or maybe whatever Helios Academy was named after. But also in the story, apparently, a big anti-Void Hunter mech has been deployed specifically targeting Remiel, who does reveal that her family name, or her surname, is Dan, as in the same family name as Lieutenant Colonel Dan from one of the original Void Hunters. You know, the one where it was Dan alongside Vike and the leader of the Falkenhayn mercenary group. Now, if this wasn't enough of a hint that Remiel is very likely going to be the 3.0 Void Hunter, then I don't know what is. I mean, she even has the fancy wings and everything, and then looks like she has some special powers as she looks over Bell. It's just a matter of time to see when she does get revealed. Again, maybe they'll go back to having the Void Hunter be towards like the end of the year, similar to how Miyabi was at the end of the year, as opposed to being the very first banner like Yishan in 2.0. But otherwise though, for the 2 upcoming agents, we can of course expect to see some character demos as well as teasers, but specifically, Billy will be getting an EP actually though. And then it was very obviously spliced in, seemingly last minute, but they did reveal the wind element being added into the game, although it didn't really get as big of a grand reveal as you would expect. It was more so just a side note, kind of. Which, to be fair, it kind of is a side note in 2.8 because there aren't really any agents that have wind themselves, because instead, in 2.8, there will be a new enemy boss that will summon tornadoes during the fight, but it will also enter the wind anomaly itself. Now, they did mention though that triggering another anomaly will not trigger disorder, but will instead trigger vortex, which is, for all intents and purposes, kind of like an anomaly disorder anyway. But either way though, polarity disorders and ablooms will still work as usual. It's just the regular disorders that are a bit changed with the wind interaction. Next, moving on to the agent kits, let's start off with Promeia, the ice anomaly agent. Promeia builds up a gauge called Corrosive Chill when hitting enemies, or when allies apply anomaly debuffs on enemies. Building up this Corrosive Chill gauge will generate points of Trial by Cold. Promeia's skills use these Trial by Cold points to enhance their attacks and also to trigger ablooms when they do hit. Speaking of a bloom though, whenever Promeia does trigger an abloom, she will generate more decibels to help you use her ultimate more often. And then, seemingly a very random thing, but some of her attacks will have Promeia throw out her cape, letting her strut her stuff on the battlefield in a slow walk, where she's without her cape and all revealing, which is, I guess, very cool. Otherwise though, her EX special will have Promeia enter the Bound Absolution state and also getting the Absolute Order effect. Now, if you time this EX skill to be used as you're attacked, she will actually counter and dart behind the enemy, and this will let you follow up with a powerful attack if you have the Absolute Order effect, which, again, in theory, you should because you just used the skill to get into this position. Although, if you don't time the skill correctly, you can still deliver the powerful attack using the Absolute Order effect by itself by simply just holding down the attack button or by pressing the skill button again. But after this powerful attack though, if she also has a Trial by Cold point, you can then hold down the special attack for another follow-up big finisher move. And then if another teammate is an anomaly agent, then Promeia's EX attacks will apply the Presumption of Guilt effect on enemies, which will cause them to take increased abloom damage. So the TLDR of Promeia is that you want to trigger a bloom a lot, as well as a lot of anomalies, so that you can stack Trial by Cold points to dish out big hits and make the enemy more vulnerable to the ablooms that you will be hopefully dishing out tons of. The other agent is of course Starlight Billy, the physical rupture agent. Now in the stream, Promeia got about 3 minutes for her kit, Billy, on the other hand, just got over like 1 minute, so he kind of got the short end of the stick. His kit, though, at the end of the day is very simple. As a Rupture agent, his sheer force stat will scale with the amount of max HP that he has. And then you can use his special attack to drain his HP, but if you time this as an enemy attacks, it can also act as a counter attack too, which you can then follow up with another EX special. And then when there are agents of specific types or specialties on the field, depending on what types they are, Billy's skills will get different damage buffs depending on which ones they are. Now, they didn't actually explain it properly, but Billy also has a heat gauge. Think of this similar to Yushin's adrenaline. But this heat gauge is used to upgrade his next EX skill usage into a more powerful flying kick attack once he has enough heat above a certain threshold. Now, the final showcase of Billy in a quote-unquote a real battle was pretty funny because instead of highlighting how you can use Billy to build up heat and then use his attacks to dish out powerful EXs and whatnot, the quote-unquote real battle scenario is starting off with talking about a different agent, mentioning using Lucia for Ether Veil State. And then all Billy does is he comes in and deals some damage, only for them to switch again to talking about a different agent, mentioning how Dialin is then meant to stun the enemy, for Billy to just come in and again, just do more damage. Like I said, it really did feel like a pretty rushed breakdown for Billy. No mention of the heat gauge whatsoever, no mention of all of his different types of attacks. It's just, hey yeah, Billy has like attack buttons and you can use his EX special to counter attack, I guess. But aside from the new agents though, we can also expect to see a new A-rank Bangbu called Bultergeist in patch 2.8. As for the banners themselves though, in the first half of the patch will be Promea with a rerun for Lucia, who apparently is one of the key ingredients for a Billy team according to the stream. But in the second half of the patch will be of course Starlight Billy and a rerun for Orpheus and Magus. And now yes, although it is almost the end of Season 2 and Season 3 is right around the corner, I hope you guys have not forgotten about Miyabi yet. If you have forgotten about her, well here's a friendly reminder that she exists, especially considering she will be getting a new Dignified Blossom skin available for purchase next patch. Otherwise, moving on to the events that we can expect to see in patch 2.8, aside from the usual 10 master tapes and 10 Boopon login campaigns, as well as the double drops throughout the patch, the first big event will be Operation Save Bootopia, where EOS goes a little bit schizo mode and thinks that it works at the Bootopia Island. Now, we've had Bangbu Fall Guys, we've had Bangbu Tower Defense, and now it is time for this to get Bangbu Extraction Looters. This Operation Save Bootopia event will of course reward you with some polychromes, as well as the new Bultergeist A-rank Bangbu. The next event will be Spirit Artist's Notebook, where we will be asked to track down supposed criminals, i.e. different agents, to speak to them for some polychrome rewards. A fairly simple event. And then in the event Ultimate Verdict Trial, Promea will be looking for a worthy combat partner. And this will mean taking part in the HIA trial combats, which will be the perfect opportunity for you to try out some of the new agents, as well as their kits if you want to experience what their combat is like. And then Spook Shack have an event for us too in a look into Redo's Legends, where Yuzuha and Alice are asking for us to play Papers, Please yet again, as we uncovered the truth behind some of the ghost stories across New Eridu, for some polychrome rewards as well as other upgrade materials and a special name card as well. And then there are some new optimization features that will be introduced in patch 2.8. Firstly, a new polychrome guide will show you your progress in obtaining all of the polychrome that are available for that version. So this can help you make sure that you don't miss out any potential polychrome, both for the limited time events as well as any permanent events that you have missed out on. And also, if there is something that you want to see that you can still get polychromes for, then you can jump straight to it with just a click of a button. Now, with Season 2 nearing an end, that also means the game has gotten quite big, literally, in terms of storage size. And so, a management system has been updated that will also let you delete some of the older content to help you reduce the game file size. There is also some other outside of the game news, firstly, with a special collaboration with Laced Records, where we will have the real-life vinyl records for the Zenless Zone Zero original soundtrack. Pre-orders for these vinyls will begin on April 29th, and if you want more information about that, you can go to the Laced Records website. And then Zenless Zone Zero is now available to be wishlisted on Steam, although with no exact release date just yet, but there are some wishlist milestones with some polychrome awards at 300,000 wishlists, which should be pretty easy to achieve. And don't worry, there will be cross-platform data sharing, so all your progress can easily be carried over onto Steam. There are also some Steam version playtest signups available too, if you're interested in that. And then lastly, right as the stream was ending, like I mentioned before, since Season 3 is right around the corner, just after patch 2.8, a small little teaser came up saying that a Season 3 teaser, so yeah, a teaser for a teaser, would be coming soon, titled Before the Wind Rises. Get it? Wind, and it's rising because of the island in the sky and all the new wind elements and stuff like that. And guess what? Remiel has wings, and what do wings do? They let you fly high in the sky where the wind is rising apparently. I don't know. I'm spitballing here. But otherwise though, that is everything that you can expect to see in patch 2.8. I'll be honest, it kind of felt lackluster to me. Again, they sort of brushed over the new wind element like it was nothing. Miyabi gets a new skin for seemingly no reason out of nowhere. Billy's kit description was literally just press attack and EX every now and then nothing more in depth than that. And then the only truly quote-unquote new event is just the Extraction Bootopia one. And normally I would say it's okay because the story will be good hopefully, but it's an epilogue story though, so I doubt there'll be too much exposition. It's probably all just a setup for the 3.0 story, even though we are probably going to see some news or learn more about Remiel and how she is connected to the Void Hunters, but that's just my 2 cents though. What about you? Are you excited about the patch? Will you be pulling for Promea or Billy? Maybe both. Let me know down in the comments below. Otherwise, until next time, bye bye.